This is the sworn testimony of AniKaspar on 4/30/2017 at 11:09 a.m. I have again been hit with directed energy weapons of some level. I'm not sure. I don't have the expertise to understand this all day yesterday and all night as well. I was forced to sleep in my master closet and bathroom, essentially, because it's the most protected area of the house. My cat also is suffering from whatever it is that this is, and I have become increasingly ill. I am striving to move as immediately as possible away from the generators of these weapons. But because I have no family and have had no family since 2004, and my Social Security has been robbed from me left, right, and center for quite some time, this makes this type of rapid move very difficult. And this is precisely the circumstance that these types of programs try to get you into. If you have been determined to be a dissident based on my extensive review now for 4 years in the United States, or even if you're not a dissident, if you're determined to be a political hazard to whomever is in power at any time, at least in the United States, it appears that you are put on these watch lists, and then a cascade of events commences that essentially destroys your life in every category. And programs are launched against you that are so comprehensive, it takes sometimes years to understand exactly what is happening. And in my case, it's precisely what happened because of the insidious nature of these programs and the expertise with which they are compiled by intelligence and military and other entities, it would be impossible for a common normal person to understand exactly what was going on until they saw a repeat of events over a long period of time, and then were also able to corroborate their life events that led to complete life destruction with others who experienced very similar types of events over an extended period, which is exactly what I'm testifying to today. So since that's a tag for the satellite to beam at me. It has been happening for about a month now. Yeah, that's exactly what that is. And it has been happening only for about a month when all of this began to become Kafkaesque and most horrific. And it was about the same time that we filed the UN human rights complaint and request for intervention on the behalf of all similarly situated individuals. But since 2011, in the publication of my book, Pelicans, Coconuts, and Butterflies, Conquering Cancer with a Life of Soul, my life became a living hell. It was actually already in process for quite some time, but the cast of characters that appear to have been hired, and I have separate confirmation and affidavits from individuals to dismantle my life in Puerto Rico from May of 2011, so it's now 6 years, was exactly the kind of theater that you would see in staging any kind of a false flag event or a false timeline. Of course, I didn't realize it at the time, and I just believed my life had been taken over by hell on earth. And of course, this kind of event doesn't bring out the best in you. And it most certainly didn't, because when you're under such severe siege and you have no support, and when I say severe siege, I mean someone's been brought into your life who's a former Blackwater type of person who has a long history of domestic violence and assault, and that's what you're living 24/7, no matter what you do, and the police do nothing, and no one is there to assist you, and you can't escape it. It's you know, when you've never had anything like that in your life before. And in the meantime, you're calling Social Security trying to get your stuff organized, and you can't because you're being lied to nonstop. Then you're trying to access social services. You're disabled, you're very sick, you're told you have third stage breast cancer now after putting $250,000 into your health over a 10-year period, which of course, you now are learning that it's all due to electromagnetic pulsing over a long, long, long period. And what I could say about this theater that has been conducted upon myself since 2011, it's very similar to the type of theater that many listed go through throughout the world on a daily basis until, unfortunately, they die from the stress of it. Their hearts give out, cancer overtakes them, or they take their lives. And it has been consistent in its ferocity to place me as an individual that I am not, and to try to frame me for a vast array of illegalities, which of course I haven't committed and don't commit. And it has followed me from Puerto Rico to New York State to Connecticut to Rhode Island and here to Florida. And the pattern and practice and the identicalness of it is so obvious that it's shocking. And because the program elements are so similar for all listed individuals, it is very clear that these are 21st century Zerzat programs, military intelligence programs, to completely neutralize, if not murder, anyone who's perceived as any type of, I don't even, threat is like the most ridiculous word, you know, it just doesn't make any sense because realistically, I'm not a threat. I just wanted what was mine, what I paid for, what I worked really hard for, and it was stolen for 40 years. It's a long time to have everything stolen from you. So I'm recording this today because it continues here very aggressively in Sarasota, and the human, civil, and constitutional rights violations that I have endured in the United States particularly, and particularly since 2011, are the same human, civil, and constitutional rights violations that many listed endure throughout the world, which lead them ultimately, because they can get no remedy, to either suicide or just to complete and utter destitution. And so I'm recording this today to say, once again, I had directed energy weapons perpetrated against my person. Again, I don't know the exact types, but my animal is ill. I am ill. And after taking some, God bless my friends, some supplements that neutralize radiation and what is done to you by these things, I look markedly better and feel better. However, I am trying to move and I am very ill. And so if these folks who really obviously love me so want me to leave, they need to back off, because I have no intention of staying. And quite honestly, I have no intention of having anything further to do with the United States of America, because it has destroyed my life illegally for 20 years and the lives of so many innocents nonstop for the same period. And why? I don't know. I'll speculate here. Social engineering, clinical psychopathology. I'm not quite sure, but I'm done with it. And all I've ever asked for, which was what was rightfully and legally mine. Anyone who has any questions, please feel free to contact me at 941-356-8007 or at ANE Kaspar, Kaspar, the number 8, at gmail.com. Again, this is a sworn testimony of continuing lethal grade weaponry use against my person, as well as noise harassment, plane flybys. Yes, here come the vibrations. See, I just told you. They just tagged the fridge and here they come. I mean, it's absurd, absurd. You really cannot imagine that these people are this criminal, that they act with like boundless impunity. Very sad for my country this day. I've been very sad for my country for a long time. But I will no longer allow it to murder me, to steal from me, to destroy my life, to create alternative timelines that have nothing to do with who I am. I will no longer allow my country to hijack the beauty of my being, my freedom, and my choice. Again, this is a sworn testimony of AniKaspar on 4/30/2017 in Sarasota, Florida.